Lionel Messi, the boy who became legend. The sun barely crested over the horizon in Rosario, Argentina on that June morning in 1987. Jorge Messi paced anxiously in the sterile hospital hallway, the smell of antiseptics sharp in his nostrils. When the nurse finally appeared with news of his third son's birth, Jorge rushed to his wife's side. Celia cradled their newborn, a small boy they named Lionel Andres Messi. "He's so tiny," Jorge whispered, gently touching his son's hand. Little did he know that those small hands would one day control a football with such mastery that the world would stand in awe. No one could have predicted that this child from a working-class neighborhood in Rosario would transform football forever. No one except, perhaps, his grandmother Celia, who took young Leo to his first football matches and insisted to anyone who would listen that her grandson was destined for greatness. The boy with the ball. From the moment Leo could walk, a ball became his constant companion. While other children his age played with toys or watched cartoons, Leo was in perpetual motion, dribbling through the narrow corridors of the family home or playing impromptu matches in the dusty streets of Rosario with his older brothers Rodrigo and Matias. He slept with his ball. His mother would later tell journalists, "We had to pry it from his arms when he fell asleep." By age 5, Leo joined the local club Grandoli, where his father coached. The other parents watched in disbelief as the diminutive boy weaved through players twice his size, his feet moving so quickly they appeared to blur. His touch was delicate yet precise, as if the ball were tethered to his foot by an invisible string. "He moved differently," recalled his first coach. "It wasn't just skill. It was like he understood the physics of the game in ways that adults couldn't articulate but instinctively recognized." When Leo turned 8, he joined the youth academy of Newell's Old Boys, one of Argentina's most storied clubs. There, his legend began to grow. In 6 years with the club's youth team, he scored nearly 500 goals. Videos from those days show a small boy with an oversized jersey, dancing around defenders who lunged helplessly as he glided past. But beneath the burgeoning talent lay a serious medical concern. At 10, Leo was diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency. The treatment was expensive, $1,000 per month, far beyond what the Messi family could afford. Newell's initially promised to cover the costs, but eventually reneged. River Plate, another Argentine powerhouse, also expressed interest but couldn't finance the treatment. The family faced an impossible situation. Without treatment, their son's dream of becoming a professional footballer would likely wither. With it, they faced financial ruin. The napkin promise. Football, like life, often hinges on moments of serendipity. For the Messi, that moment came when Jorge arranged a trial for his son at FC Barcelona, thousands of miles away in Spain. With nothing but hope and the last of their savings, the family crossed the Atlantic. On December 14th, 2000, 13-year-old Leo stepped onto the training grounds of La Masia, Barcelona's famed youth academy. The club's technical staff were initially skeptical. Before them stood a boy who was not only small for his age, but abnormally so due to his condition. Their doubts vanished the moment Leo began to play. Carlos Rexach, Barcelona's sporting director, needed only minutes to make his decision. "We need to sign him immediately," he declared. The club not only wanted Leo, but also agreed to pay for his medical treatment. For the Messi family, it was salvation. The improvised contract was famously written on a napkin. In Barcelona on December 14, 2000, in the presence of Messrs. Minguella and Horacio, Carlos Rexach, FC Barcelona's sporting director, hereby agrees under his responsibility and regardless of any dissenting opinions to sign the player Lionel Messi, provided that we keep to the amounts agreed upon. With those words scribbled on a makeshift contract, the trajectory of football history changed forever. The crucible of La Masia. Life in Barcelona wasn't easy at first. The Messi family was split, with Jorge and Leo staying in Spain, while Celia returned to Argentina with Leo's siblings. The young boy struggled with homesickness, often calling his mother in tears. The cultural differences, the language barrier, and separation from his family tested Leo's resolve. The treatment for his hormone deficiency involved daily injections in his legs, painful reminders of both his vulnerability and his determination. Jorge would administer the shots himself, teaching his son that sometimes pain was necessary for growth. On the pitch, however, Leo was in his element. At La Masia, Barcelona's legendary youth academy, he progressed rapidly through the ranks. His coaches were astounded by his technical ability, vision, and humility. Despite his obvious talent, he remained quiet and introverted, letting his feet do the talking. He was shy to the point of appearing mute, one coach recalled. But with a ball, he expressed himself with a vocabulary no one had ever seen. His teammates were equally impressed. Cesc Fabregas, who played alongside Leo in the youth teams, later confessed, "We thought he was mute. He didn't speak for weeks, but then we saw him with a ball. It was like God had given him a gift." By 16, Leo had outgrown the youth teams. On November 16, 2003, he made his unofficial debut for Barcelona's first team in a friendly against Porto. Manager Frank Rijkaard was impressed enough to give the teenager his official debut on October 16, 2004, against Espanyol, making him the youngest player to represent Barcelona in an official match at that time. The boy from Rosario was no longer just a promising talent. He was poised to become a global phenomenon. The flea takes flight. They called him La Pulga, the flea, a nickname that perfectly captured his playing style. Small and unassuming off the pitch, on it he became an irrepressible force, tormenting defenders with his low center of gravity, explosive acceleration, and supernatural ball control. Leo's first professional goal came on May 1, 2005, against Albacete. Receiving a sublime lob pass from Ronaldinho, he chipped the ball delicately over the goalkeeper. As the ball nestled in the net, Ronaldinho hoisted the teenager onto his shoulders. A symbolic passing of the torch from one generational talent to another. The 2005 to 2006 season saw Messi claim his first Champions League trophy, though injury prevented him from playing in the final against Arsenal. Despite limited appearances, his potential was undeniable, drawing comparisons to another Argentine legend, Diego Maradona. The comparisons intensified on April 18, 2007, when Messi scored a goal against Getafe that was eerily reminiscent of Maradona's famous goal of the century against England in the 1986 World Cup. Starting from midfield, Leo slalomed past 5 defenders before rounding the goalkeeper and slotting the ball into the net. The football world collectively gasped. They were witnessing something special. By the 2008 to 2009 season, Messi had established himself as one of the world's elite players. Under the guidance of Pep Guardiola, he moved to a false nine position, a tactical innovation that maximized his unique abilities. The result was devastation for opponents and delight for football purists. Barcelona's team that season, featuring Messi alongside Xavi and Iniesta, played what many consider the most beautiful football ever seen. They won an unprecedented treble, La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the UEFA Champions League. In the Champions League final against Manchester United, Messi scored with a rare header, sealing Barcelona's 2-0 victory. As he celebrated, tears streaming down his face, the boy from Rosario had officially arrived on the world stage. The unprecedented peak. The years that followed were a sustained exhibition of excellence that defied belief. 4 consecutive Ballon d'Or awards from 2009 to 2012. A record 91 goals in a single calendar year in 2012. Multiple Champions League triumphs. Individual records fell like dominoes before his brilliance. His performances transcended sport, becoming cultural events. When Barcelona faced Real Madrid in the Champions League semifinal in 2011, Messi's 2 goals, especially his slaloming second, left even opposing fans applauding in stunned admiration. The statistics of his peak years at Barcelona read like fiction. Seasons with 73 goals, 2011 to 2012, 60 goals, 2012 to 2013, and 58 goals, 2014 to 2015. These weren't just goals. They were brushstrokes in a masterpiece of athletic art. His rivalry with Cristiano Ronaldo pushed both men to unprecedented heights, dividing football fans worldwide into 2 passionate camps in the greatest of all-time debate. While Ronaldo possessed physical prowess and aerial dominance, Messi countered with technical perfection and visionary playmaking that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Messi is God as a footballer, proclaimed Javier Mascherano, his teammate at Barcelona and with the Argentine national team. Others insisted he was from another planet entirely. The hyperbole seemed justified each time he took to the field. During this period, Messi also evolved as a player. Once primarily a goal scorer, he developed into perhaps the game's greatest playmaker as well. His passing range, vision, and execution rivaled that of midfield maestros, yet he maintained his lethal finishing. He wasn't just playing the game, he was redefining it. The Argentine heartbreak. For all his success at Barcelona, there remained a void in Messi's career that grew increasingly painful. International glory with Argentina. The narrative that he couldn't replicate his club's success with his country became a persistent criticism, a thorn in the side of his legacy. His international career began promisingly enough. In 2005, he led Argentina to victory in the FIFA World Youth Championship, scoring twice in the final against Nigeria. The following year, he made his World Cup debut in Germany, becoming Argentina's youngest player to appear in the tournament. At the 2008 Beijing Olympics, Messi helped Argentina secure gold, but senior international silverware proved elusive. The 2010 World Cup ended in a crushing 4-0 defeat to Germany in the quarterfinals. Critics questioned his commitment to the national cause, suggesting he felt more Catalan than Argentine after so many years in Barcelona. The 2014 World Cup in Brazil seemed destined to change that narrative. Argentina reached the final against Germany at the Maracanã Stadium in Rio de Janeiro. For 113 minutes, the teams were deadlocked. Then German substitute Mario Götze scored the winner, crushing Argentine dreams. As Messi walked past the World Cup trophy to collect his Golden Ball award as the tournament's best player, his face reflected nothing but devastation. No individual accolade could compensate for the collective failure. Successive defeats in the 2015 and 2016 Copa America finals, both times to Chile on penalties, compounded the agony. After the 2016 loss, an emotional Messi announced his retirement from international football, the weight of national expectation having become too heavy to bear. "It's been 4 finals," he said, his voice cracking. "It's not for me. The national team is over for me." The nation was shocked. Children held up homemade signs pleading, "Don't go, Leo." Political leaders appealed for him to reconsider. Within weeks, he reversed his decision, unable to abandon his dream of winning for Argentina. Barcelona's decline and painful departure. While Messi's international career was marked by frustration, Barcelona remained his sanctuary until it wasn't. The club's institutional decline eventually caught up with its on-field performance. Mismanagement at board level, poor recruitment, and financial impropriety created a crisis that not even Messi's brilliance could overcome. The signs of decline were evident in embarrassing Champions League exits. The 3-0 defeat to Roma in 2018 after leading 4-1 from the first leg. The 4-0 collapse against Liverpool in 2019, following a 3-0 home win. And most devastatingly, the 8-2 humiliation against Bayern Munich in 2020. Through it all, Messi remained a beacon of excellence in a team increasingly dependent on his individual brilliance. His frustration became increasingly visible. The slumped shoulders, the hands on hips, the 1,000-yard stare as another European campaign ended prematurely. In August 2020, following the Bayern debacle, Messi sent a burofax to the club stating his intention to leave. The football world was stunned, Barcelona without Messi seemed as unimaginable as Rome without the Colosseum. Legal complications prevented his departure that summer, forcing him to remain for one final season. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, he played in empty stadiums, the eerie silence a stark contrast to the roars that had accompanied his career. Despite the club's struggles, Messi's form remained stellar. He scored 38 goals in 47 matches during his final season, including a spectacular free kick against Athletic Bilbao in the Copa del Rey final, his final trophy with the club. In August 2021, the unthinkable happened. Despite both Messi and Barcelona wanting to continue their relationship, the club's dire financial situation made registering his new contract impossible under La Liga's financial fair play rules. At a tearful press conference, Messi bid farewell to his home of 21 years. "I never imagined having to say goodbye," he sobbed, struggling to compose himself. "I gave everything for this club, for this shirt, from the first day I arrived to the last." The images of Messi weeping openly, handed tissues by his wife Antonella, illustrated the depth of his connection to the club. This wasn't just a player leaving, it was the severing of a relationship that had defined modern football. Paris and redemption. Paris Saint-Germain quickly signed the free agent, pairing him with former Barcelona teammate Neymar and rising superstar Kylian Mbappé in a formidable attacking trio. The adjustment wasn't seamless. Messi, for the first time in his adult life, had to adapt to a new club, a new system, a new country. His first season in Paris was underwhelming by his stratospheric standards. He scored just 6 goals in League One, his lowest league tally since his teenage years. Critics suggested that perhaps, at 34, his powers were finally waning. But those who had followed his career knew better. Lionel Messi had faced doubters before. And then came Qatar 2022, the World Cup that would define his legacy. The missing piece. Every great story needs its moment of redemption. And for Messi, the 2022 World Cup provided exactly that. At 35, he knew this would likely be his final chance at the prize that had eluded him throughout his career. The tournament began with shock. Argentina suffered a stunning defeat to Saudi Arabia in their opening match. For a team considered among the favorites, it was a disastrous start. But rather than crumble, Messi rallied his teammates. "The only way out is to be more united than ever," he told them. What followed was a testament to his leadership and determination. A vital goal against Mexico kept their hopes alive. Assists and goals against Australia and the Netherlands propelled them to the semifinals. A masterclass against Croatia, including a goal and an assist, set up a final against France. From the opening match against Saudi Arabia, a shocking 2-1 defeat, to the dramatic final against France, Messi's tournament was a microcosm of his entire career. Moments of individual brilliance, setbacks that tested his resolve, and ultimately, triumph through perseverance. The final itself was perhaps the greatest in World Cup history. Argentina raced to a 2-0 lead, with Messi converting a penalty. France, led by his PSG teammate Mbappé, fought back to force extra time at 2-2. Messi scored again in extra time, only for Mbappé to complete his hat trick and level the match at 3-3. In the penalty shootout, Messi stepped up first, calmly dispatching his kick. When Gonzalo Montiel converted the winning penalty, Messi fell to his knees, overcome with emotion. Teammates swarmed him, lifting him onto their shoulders as he raised his arms in triumph, tears streaming down his face. The image of Messi kissing the World Cup trophy, wearing the traditional Qatari bisht draped over his shoulders, became instantly iconic. The final piece of his legacy was secure. The boy from Rosario had climbed to the summit of world football, both individually and collectively. Legacy beyond the pitch. Messi's impact extends far beyond statistics, though those are staggering. Over 800 career goals, 7 Ballon d'Or awards, 4 Champions League titles, 10 La Liga championships, and countless other records and accolades. Off the pitch, his Leo Messi Foundation has helped thousands of children worldwide access medical treatment and education. His partnership with UNICEF has raised awareness for children's rights globally. Despite his fame, he has largely avoided the spotlight off the field, preferring a quiet life with his wife, Antonella Rocuzzo, his childhood sweetheart from Rosario, and their 3 sons, Tiago, Mateo, and Ciro. His true legacy lies in how he transformed our understanding of what was possible on a football pitch. The impossible became routine under his feet. He redefined the boundaries of creativity within the structured chaos of a football match. He showed that physical stature was secondary to technical brilliance and intelligence. More personally, he demonstrated that greatness doesn't require flamboyance or arrogance. Throughout his career, despite being arguably the most famous athlete on the planet, Messi retained the humility of the boy from Rosario. His celebration after scoring his 644th goal for Barcelona, breaking Pelé's record for most goals with a single club, was to reveal an undershirt with the number 10 of Newell's Old Boys, a tribute to Diego Maradona, who had just passed away. For millions of children worldwide, Messi represents possibility. The undersized boy who overcame a medical condition to become the greatest ever. The soft-spoken introvert who let his talent speak volumes. The loyal servant who stayed true to his values even when the football world grew increasingly mercenary. The boy who never left. In Rosario today, a giant mural of Messi adorns the side of a building in his old neighborhood. Local children play beneath it, each one dreaming of becoming the next Leo. But they know, as does the world, that there will never be another quite like him. Sometimes when he returns to visit family, Messi can be spotted watching these children play from a distance, a small smile on his face. In those moments, one can almost see the reflection of his younger self, the boy with the ball who simply loved to play. The journey from that small boy to global icon required immense sacrifice, discipline, and talent. But through it all, through the glory and heartbreak, through the records and accolades, through the criticism and adulation, Lionel Messi remained true to the pure joy that first drew him to the game. That, perhaps, is his greatest achievement. The boy who became a legend never really left behind the child who fell in love with a ball in the streets of Rosario. And in that enduring connection to the game's simple pleasures lies the true essence of his genius. As Jorge Luis Borges, Argentina's literary giant, once wrote, any life, no matter how long and complex it may be, is made up of a single moment, the moment in which a man finds out once and for all who he is. For Lionel Messi, that moment stretched across decades, played out on pitches around the world, witnessed by billions. And what we saw was not just a footballer of unprecedented ability, but a human being who reminded us all of the beauty that can exist when talent meets passion, when determination overcomes obstacles, when greatness wears the cloak of humility. The story of Lionel Messi is far from over, but its place in football's pantheon is already secure. The boy from Rosario did not just play the game, he elevated it, transforming football into an art form that transcended cultural and linguistic barriers. In doing so, he gave the world something precious, moments of collective wonder that for a brief time united us all in appreciation of what humans are capable of achieving. And that ultimately is why we will tell his story for generations to come.